David here, and welcome again to our weekly question and answer session. I'm really excited about this week's question. What is Himalayan meditation? Now, you may have heard us talking about this practice of Himalayan meditation. You may have come across this. You may have heard it as Samarpan meditation, or you may be brand new to meditation and you've just stumbled across it. But what we're going to be answering today is, what is this practice of Himalayan meditation, and perhaps why you should consider beginning to meditate in this particular lineage? Himalayan meditation is a practice of reconnecting to your own soul. It's as simple as that. It's a reawakening of a connection that was never not there. You're always connected to that place. That's as simply as I can put it. Now, meditation as a practice, the word has very far-reaching implications, and it's used in many different contexts. Within the practice of Himalayan meditation, what we're talking about is a process that happens to you when you sit down and surrender. Right? The breath, we could consider, is there whether or not you think about breathing or you don't think about breathing. Your body will still breathe. It's a natural process. So too, when you sit down with the energy and the feeling and the inner connection to your own soul and the sense of surrender, so letting go, you will return to the meditative state naturally. Just as if you release the breath, the exhalation will fall out of you. You don't need to blow that air out. If you release, then the breath will leave you. So too, when we release the tension of the mind, the feeling and connection of the soul begins to emerge completely spontaneously, without any effort. Why Himalayan then? Why do we call this Himalayan meditation? Well, this meditation was brought to society from a Himalayan saint. His name is His Holiness Sri Shiv Krupanand Swami. Swamiji for short. So he, as a mountain ascetic in the Himalayas, the place where many of the different yogic traditions and practices, whether they're in Hindu, Buddhist or Jain traditions, they all share a common source of origin in the Himalayas. So Swamiji himself spent 16 years of his life engaged in deep spiritual penance in the Himalayas, and his own gurus gave him this particular practice of surrender, and also the mission and the charge to come into society and to share that practice of meditation with people who were seeking an inner reconnection to their own soul. So the practice has been shared also under the name of Samarpan meditation. Now, Samarpan is a Sanskrit word, so the root language of which all of the Vedas are written, so the holy texts inside of the Hindu culture, and as well as the source text for yoga and many Buddhist texts as well, were written in a language called Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is a very beautiful language in that it's composed phonically and it's made up of sounds, which is a little bit different than the way other languages are constructed. So when we look at a traditional yoga practice, the Sanskrit name of the different poses, the different techniques, is actually very, very important because it begins to inform us about how we should begin to approach those practices. So Samarpan, Samma means equal, right? So already Samarpan as a surrender is equating letting go with a sense of equality, a sense of equanimity inside, right? We're not going to push and we're not going to pull, we're just going to surrender. We're going to begin to allow. So this practice of Himalayan meditation, the one word you need to remember, if there was a technique, it is the technique of surrender. Well, what does surrender mean? And does it mean that you're going to get taken advantage of? Somebody's going to take your power from you? Not at all. What we're talking about with regards to surrender is a surrender to your own soul. Okay, I'll say that again. It's a surrender to your own soul. Okay, and your relationship to your own soul, well, that's your internal business. That's not for me to judge one way or the other. Okay, and what that particularly manifests as for you is completely dependent upon your own inner journey and your own path through life. So this practice of Himalayan meditation was brought to society by Swamiji, and it's been shared free of charge. So we're sharing this video with you free of charge. And it is a practice that reawakens your internal innate humanity. Okay, so that is the process of coming back in to the depths of your being where you're at peace and you're able to offer that same peace to other people. You're not being a good boy or a good girl because somebody else has said, hey, you should be good or you shouldn't be bad. What you're doing is connecting so far inside of yourself that when your system then begins to find its equilibrium, it finds a natural state where there's no psychological stress, there's no physiological stress in the body anymore, that you just feel joyous, you feel happy for no good reason, right? Happy for no good reason. What do I mean by that? Well, you haven't built yourself a bunch of ideas about, oh, look, I'm healthy, therefore I should be happy. I'm prosperous, therefore I should be happy. You just feel content as your baseline. Now, for me, that feeling emerges when I let go of the mind. Right? I don't get any more answers to the questions of the great mystery of where we come from or where we're going or why did this happen to me and oh, if only I could have done that. All of that part of me goes quiet when I sit and surrender. So I don't have any questions anymore. Well, great, I don't have any answers. But the best thing is I don't have any questions. And what I've learned for me is that it's actually the questioning nature of my own mind that rocks my ship, it rocks my boat, it stops me from just being content and sailing through the ups and downs of life. So the questions that you have that rage on inside of you, whether they're existential, where do we come from? Where are we going? Or they might be personal and related. Why did this bad thing happen to me? Or it might be future oriented. How am I going to be able to achieve this in this lifetime? The practice of meditation will give you an opportunity to see those questions and release them, surrender them, right? And in the process of surrendering them, you get to watch for you, how do you feel? Right? Not what do you think, how do you feel? What does that feel like inside of you to have no more questions? So this journey of Himalayan meditation is, well, it's a very advanced practice given for free with very little instruction. Put your attention on your head, connect to your soul and surrender. It's very, very, very challenging to many parts of my being, and potentially it is to yours too. For instance, part of the universe that I've built inside of me equates hard work with positive outcomes. So the more I work, the better I should feel. The more I work, the more money I should have in the bank. What this meditation is saying is actually the less you do, the better you'll feel. Just 30 minutes each day, don't do anything. Sit down and surrender and watch how you feel. And my experience has been that it works. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sharing it. So this Himalayan practice of doing nothing, of just allowing this energy to arise inside of you is it's not ego gratifying, put it that way. And what do I mean by that? Well, you sit down and you surrender, you let go, and then you start feeling good. Well, you can't claim that it was on anything that you did because all you did was stop doing things, right? So the beautiful aspect of this practice is that your ego, which is one of the sense of self that you have, which is one of the big reasons why we suffer, your ego cannot latch onto this practice and claim credit, right? It's almost as if the feeling inside is that something else is doing the work of this meditation for you. So what we talk about in this lineage and in this practice is that you are receiving the grace of your own soul. You're receiving its illumination inside of you. Just like if, I was cold and it was dark and it was a sunny day, all that's required for me to receive the illumination from the sun would be to take myself from inside the house and go and sit in the sun, and the sun would be showering its grace. No matter what I did that day, the sun would still be shining, right? So when you take yourself to the grace of your own inner sun, which is the soul, then you will receive a positive flow of warmth. The shower of grace will come inside of you, and that will leave you feeling hopefully more rested, with a sense of internal balance and equilibrium, and also a sense of faith that you do have the innate capacity to weather the storm through the ups and downs of this life. So thank you very much for joining us today. This is just a quick video to share with you what is Himalayan meditation. We're going to create a link below for the next video in this series. Next few weeks, we're going to be releasing a few more videos around exactly how you can begin to incorporate the practice of Himalayan meditation into your own life. If this video has been useful for you, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the like, and hit your little notification bell. Himalayan meditation is shared for free around the world, and we are going to be sharing as much as we can around this particular practice. So stay tuned for more sharing from Kailash. We'll also link to some of the resources from Swamiji himself in India. And look, if you've got questions, if you want to know more about this practice, make sure you leave a comment below, and we'll do our best to feature those questions in our upcoming video series. As an added incentive for subscribing to the Kailash channel, Project 2022. In next year, the year of 2022, Kailash is going to be building our YouTube social media universe so that we can continue to share the practices that we are madly passionate about. We are offering a 1-week personal retreat for free at our retreat centre in the Grampians in Australia for one of the first 2,000 people to subscribe to the Kailash channel. So all you need to do is literally hit subscribe and enter. If you want to let anyone else know, tag them below and get them to subscribe to our channel as well, and we will draw we'll draw our raffle at the end of next year. So something to look forward to. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a real pleasure to share live from our yurt in the Grampians. This is the space where we meditate every single night. We'll leave a link below on how you can get involved and join us in our collective meditation. Jai Atmeshwar.